Say, good morning, everybody. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know, www.growbecauseyouKnow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe, where we are gathering to discuss Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Well, pieces and parts of it, right? So today we will be talking about the subconscious mind. I had some questions typed in to get us started. I can't see them. They're gone because I refreshed my screen. Brian, if you could see them and copy paste so we could start again, that'd be pretty awesome. But there we go. Blab is still beta. If you have to refresh, you lose everything from the time that you refreshed. Start anew.
Let me see what I can do.
I appreciate that. I see two. Oh, two questions. Yes, I had typed those in. Anybody's welcome to join me and Brian. We are talking about the subconscious mind according to the book Think and Grow Rich. So that's our starting point for discussion. And a reference is that we're looking at this as the connecting link between the finite mind and infinite intelligence. So that's our starting point. The idea being that the subconscious is not something we can control, but it is something where we can voluntarily turn over to it, this power, right? This underlying mind of our own, that storage of knowledge and experiences and information and everything that comes at us and guides us into doing things. Yeah, we can get into that discussion. I want to learn more from other people on that one. But anyway, the whole point is that we can voluntarily turn over to it any of our plans or desires or purpose that we want transformed into concrete form. Okay, we can start there. What do you think, Brian? The subconscious mind.
I've never considered it something that I can't control. But I guess you're right, because, basically inner thought, and inner thought happens. No matter what, it's going to be something that just appears, so it's not controllable.
Yeah.
And it's my decision whether to act upon or believe that inner thought or not. But I've never considered it until just now that it was uncontrollable, or not uncontrollable, but what am I?
It takes thought. I look at the subconscious mind almost like an autonomic function where I'm not thinking what's inside my subconscious. I'm not experiencing it on purpose at any given moment, but it's the underlying essence of how I respond and react to the world and how I see the world. It's not the underlying essence of who I am, but it is where my reactions come from, where my unthinking responses come from, which are basically reactions, right? And being an autonomic function, it is on the same plane in my mind as breathing, as the working of my heart, as the way my eyes work. These are all in my nervous system. These are things that happen without my having any control over them.
So is the subconscious mind influenced by the things around you?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Absolutely. In my mind, and what I'm beginning to understand Napoleon Hill's view, like Laura's saying that it's instinct, and she believes it comes from there. I think instinct is a part of it. A part. That's that autonomic portion. Another way that I've looked at it, especially when I was first learning about it, was, and this years ago, and eventually I got into computers and realized what it was like. So my subconscious mind is my storage space for all of my um, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional experiences in life every single day, every moment. It's all being stored right now. Plus, all that is I'm exposed to where I'm not conscious that I am experiencing something. And what I mean by that is what's coming in my mind is subliminal messages. Subliminal messages. I don't have to be conscious of them as they're coming through the screen or coming at me, but my subconscious is. So I literally don't know that I've been influenced by somebody else's text in front of me or images because I don't consciously see them. I don't recognize them and stop and say, oh, this is a statement that tells me to do this. And then we get into NLP, which is a way to speak and communicate, to tap into not me, but me to tap into somebody else's subconscious, to evoke emotion, to influence an action.
So you would define character as responding or reacting to that subconscious thought.
Oh, no, that's an interesting statement. So character is the embodiment of my behavior, values, expressed through behavior and communication. Am I correct?
Yeah.
All right. That of course, it would be influenced by the subconscious mind. Let's take it one step further to what Napoleon Hill is saying, and this is why I think it's true, because I have been able to change my perspective on people, places, and things. I have been able to change my own view. I mean, in today's terms, we call them limiting beliefs. I have been able to change my own view from that which is possible to why am I saying it's possible, whatever impossible? Why even have that as an option? And that took work, and I'm still not completely there yet. It's something I'm working on. I can sit and say with certainty that the word impossible really really has no definite meaning in terms of the abilities of the human being to do things.
And I think this dispelling the lies of what could be the subconscious thought builds you and your character. I keep going back to that.
Okay.
Right. So lie, I like the acronym I was given for lie of limited information and experience.
See, and I don't care for the word lie, because that means it's an untruth.
Well,
I'm still going, semantics, right? But it's still my response to when somebody's telling me that something I believe in is a lie. Excuse me, at the moment, I believe in it because all the available information and experience that I have proves true to me that what I believe is true.
Well, let's just take...
So even if it's limiting, I mean, I can sit in my little 10 by 10 office and say, this is my entire world.
You mentioned earlier the subliminal suggestion. let's say we're in the movie theater and they're flashing
Oh
the
yeah.
previews, and they flash a thing on the screen for a brief millisecond that says, "You're hungry, go get popcorn."
And then
You
they do that repeatedly. That's where it works.
and
You are
then
hungry. You
so
want buttery popcorn. You want, go ahead. Yeah.
so the lie would be, if you're not hungry and they're flashing that on the screen, you go and buy the popcorn and gain 10
Because you're
pounds.
hungry. It's evoked an emotion of hunger. It's evoked a response of hunger. It's not a lie. It's not a lie. To
If I wasn't hungry, if I'd eaten before I went and saw the movie, but that influenced me, that would.
purchase and eat it, then you became hungry again. Yeah. So I like what Matt's actually asking. We've got some great questions coming through here. We've got, let's see here, from Julie. We have, are we aware of what's going on in the subconscious? So based on what Brian and I are talking about, we don't have an awareness at the level of where we are right now. Am I correct, Brian? Where we are right now as we sit here in Blob, am I aware of my subconscious mind at work? I'm not feeling anything. I feel like I'm in control of what I'm saying. I think, therefore I speak. So I'm controlling my thoughts and my speech as it comes out. I'm living in the conscious.
What color was it? Oh. I think it's. Ugh.
Yeah. See what you just did? That's awareness of my environment. That's all external. I'm completely aware of all that my environment currently is offering me, good, bad, or indifferent. And I am going to put out there that I am not aware of what's going on in my subconscious at any given moment. And I say that because I've had the experience, and I've done this on Blab with Brian and a few others, when I've had that internal just reaction to something. You know, it just, no, and immediately jump in and say, why not?
Look out,
There wasn't a whole lot of a forethought to it. It was an emotional response. Well, that didn't come from considered reason. That comes from the inside. That is part of my subconscious that says, you know, based on experience and the way I've seen things and all the information I have at the moment, that word, that statement, that way of or perspective is very contrary to my beliefs at the time. And once I got it out, I sat there and said, well, where in the world did that come from?
I want to be really careful, because I don't want to allow an excuse for somebody to influence my ability to choose, because we always have that ability.
And here we are. So those principles we've been learning to this point are that we have control of our thoughts, which can control our behavior, which can control, we are in control of how I act, speak, participate in the world. The subconscious level, while I can't control that which is all stored inside, I can learn to stop, think, breathe, then decide what to do. I can feed that subconscious through autosuggestion and repetitive statements and beliefs. I begin believing in something differently, and I act on it, and I attach emotion to it, and I attach action to it, and then it gets embedded in my subconscious and replaces that which was there before, that which I changed, as the primary response to something. So we have, go ahead.
No, you were going to read that. Go ahead.
Well, Matt is asking some excellent questions. Ingrained habits originate from subconscious mind? No. You put them there by acting and doing a habit. So you put those habits into the subconscious through repetition, habit, and now it becomes unthinking response.
I think a lot of our emotion comes from the subconscious.
Yes.
Anger,
yes.
Frustration.
Especially those that you can't identify why you're feeling that way.
Yeah, this is really interesting. How much does it influence us? And how do we decide what to do with it?
I think that my subconscious mind is the most influential force that it resides within me. And while I can't control the subconscious mind in terms of everything that's happening with it, because I believe it to be an autonomic portion of myself, I like the way Napoleon Hill put it, that it's that link between my thoughts and the infinite intelligence, my own mind, that which I'm conscious of, and the infinite intelligence, so that I can feed the subconscious, but I also can, as needed, become aware and have a response for it. So again, when I feel strongly about something, just as often as I have no idea where that came from, I do know where it came from. And I will still have strong responses to situations based on previous experience, previous habits, if you will, that I just haven't paid attention to enough to change. But the right circumstances, this will still come up. The response will still be there. And I think it really does come down to awareness.
Are you saying that it's the manifestation of the third eye?
Oh, I have no idea about that. Don't know.
I would say that you're defining that.
Okay.
The third eye being the way we see things we don't understand.
Okay.
Conscious would be the interpretation, or I just hit my desk. The interpretation or the ability to filter those sensory inputs. I don't know.
Okay. So we have, well, can we take that into, because you're talking about filtering the inputs. Because what Napoleon Hill's telling us, what this principle is about, is that when we have put into action those other principles, we now have something we are working towards. It's really important. And to stop ourselves from being derailed, we can turn that over to our subconscious mind so that it becomes a priority, so that it takes the place of that which was holding us back, or the indecisiveness, if you will. What do you think? Give a shout out. Hello to everybody who's joined us. Brian and I are talking about the subconscious mind. Matt's joined in with a couple of great questions. Anybody want to jump in? Feel free.
This is really interesting.
This is really what?
Interesting.
It is, because it's difficult to grasp. Because, and it is for me, because often when I even start talking or thinking about it, it's easy for me to get into the hamster wheel and chase my tail that says, well, am I talking now from my subconscious or my conscious? Well, obviously it's my conscious because I'm thinking ahead, but yet what precipitated that which I'm saying? So instead of getting lost in that kind of hamster wheel, rat race thing, if you will, chasing my tail, go down a rabbit hole and all that. Let's focus on what it means to each of us. To me, it means that I can be aware that my subconscious mind has great influence. It is the primary influence on how I respond to the world. And while I can't control the subconscious mind, because it is the storehouse of all that I have experienced, learned, seen up to this point, I can feed it. I can purposefully supplant that which is holding me back with thoughts, desires, plan, everything associated with what I want as my outcome, and other things associated with it, so that my faith, my belief in what I'm doing, my positive belief, my final goal of what I'm working towards, the reason why I want to work towards it, all of that, and the plans involved in that, and how it's going to happen, and who I'm going to bring into play, my inner circle, my mastermind, and all that. And I can feed that on a regular basis to my subconscious mind. Right now, that's all he's saying. We haven't gotten into the part of tapping into it and connecting with the infinite intelligence through it.
I think I'm beginning to understand this. I mean, if you feed it all the time, let's just use video games as an example. The biggest waste of time on the planet is sitting in front of a video game, and if you're killing something on the screen over and over, or trying to, you're feeding that subconscious with violence. So therefore, if you're put in a situation, you have the choice whether or not to act or react with violence.
It's almost like a training, yes. It's almost like a training. What can often happen is a desensitization. If you're exposed to something regularly, you can become desensitized to it, whatever that may be. And that principle of desensitization can easily be applied here. I mean, if we're talking about, I'm not going to move forward with my plans to make money because I'm afraid, then we need to be moving forward with our plans to make money so that as we're exposed to it, the fear goes away. Because it doesn't hurt nearly as bad as I thought it would. It's only like a quarter as scary as I thought it was going to be. Right?
So I like to filter this through my internal, not necessarily your internal, but we share something that's internal that we're both scared to death of heights. I wonder if we could gear that subconscious to overcome that fear.
Yes, we can.
Prove it.
No, I don't know. No, I have no desire to remove my fear of heights. There is nothing that I want badly enough that the fear of heights is stopping me from doing. Now, my fear of people. How's that one? I had a huge fear of people. And it took positive, concerted effort. When I started my business, I knew I would have to be in front of people. It just kind of has to happen to get customers. You really have to do it. And so I had to expose myself to groups of people. I had in various settings, and I had to learn how to act and speak. And I did. There's your proof. I can bring in people. I can't today. He's not here today. My husband, friends. I've got people who met me back in '08 who've known me for 30, 40 years will tell you they're absolutely stunned when they hear that Charlene is not only in live stream, but she's the primary purpose there. Meaning that I'm the one that set it up, I'm the one that guides everything. That I get up on a stage and I speak before groups of hundreds. That I'm able to do workshops. So, stunned. Does it what?
Does it still affect you?
It does. And in some instances, it is, again, there's that subconscious. I know where it comes from. I know the response I'm having. I know how to deal with it, and I get through it. So quick, dirty, and simple. The bigger the crowd, the more likely you're going to find me in the ladies' room. And I'm not on my knees saying a prayer just yet, but then it comes. But it's, knowing all that, I know what to do ahead of time so that it's not quite as awful an experience. And I know what to do afterwards so that it doesn't stay with me through the entire event that I'm at. Doesn't happen every time. When it does, I don't go into a panic and I have no idea where this is coming from because I know where it comes from. All right, fine. So that's where that's my response is because I have fed myself through other people and practiced it, is to stop, take a breath, take a step back, run to the ladies' room, run where I need to go, find the receptacle, whatever. Okay, done. Relax. And then I go into like a prayer mode and I go into a calming self-care kind of thing. And then I'm able to step forward. And once I am into the speaking, into the presenting, into the whatever it is that I'm with these people, then I'm okay because now I'm relying on that which I know. I can just tap into my head and that I'm here for a reason, I'm here for a purpose, and now we can move forward.
So you would say that fear, anger, whatever the emotion, many times is the manifestation of the subconscious.
Yes. Yeah, it's just what we label it.
Interesting.
It's our conscious thought, our conscious view being able to put a name to it. That's my view.
This is interesting. So it actually, you're saying that it's possible to overcome anything that's based in the subconscious.
I don't see why not.
Interesting. So where is poverty based? Is that a thought? Or is that a manifestation of the subconscious?
Well, it's obviously a manifestation of the subconscious because our experience has put us in a state of poverty and our thinking keeps us there. So if we change our thinking and we change it continuously and purposefully, feed our subconscious with different views on money, on accessing money, on poverty of whatever it may be, but in this case, we're going to be talking about money because we're talking Think and Grow Rich. But it also applies to everything else that we may be close to bankrupt in. I mean, if we're bankrupt emotionally or physically, it starts in the mind. And we can bring ourselves out. Now, the one thing, and I'm going to put this out here for anybody who's able to do this for me, that I will find $1 million to pay you, that somebody can give me the button for Charlene Burke's brain that says, bang, change that thought right now and forevermore, that's how I'm going to be. An immediate change. I want to be able to press a button. I don't want to do the work. You see where I'm going? I don't want to do the work. I recognize that it's my own thoughts holding me back. Well, it's too hard to try to change those thoughts, right?
So let me unpack this if I can. Um, would you say that a habit would be influencing that subconscious through behavior and action to continually repeat?
I think a habit is the subconscious in action.
Mm.
Because a habit by its nature is doing things without much thought. You don't have to. It's a habit.
But we started it.
Started somewhere. Started
Yeah.
somewhere. So why not change the habit? And again, we're going to come back to we can change the habit. For instance, if I always have a habit of started a new job, decided that this is back in the early 90s, I decided that every payday, when this is before direct deposit, when I went to cash the check, we did have ATMs though, I would deposit the check, go to the ATM, remove a particular amount of money, and that was my budget for the week. That was the cash in hand that I had for the week. I made that decision to do it that way because I needed to understand what it was I needed to be in a budget, and can I really live on what I need to do for the week, you know. And then it became such a habit, I literally didn't think about it other than paycheck, that's direct deposit run by the ATM on Saturdays, pick up the cash, and that's it. I didn't have to think about it. I knew it became a response. I knew that when I got the notification that money was in the bank on Saturday morning, I'd drive by the ATM and I would get the cash for the week. That had to change as payment changed and as budgets changed and as things got more expensive. Then it became, oh, nuts. But you saw me this morning, right? I've got a new laptop here. This is driving me crazy. I'm doing really well to hide this, but I'm very conscious of the fact that this is driving me crazy. I keep reaching for things that I can't find because I know I'm supposed to be over here. I'm supposed to be doing this. I'm supposed to be writing this. I'm supposed to be typing out this, copy pasting. And so it's disruptive.
I agree. I can relate to that.
But it's only disruptive when I realize I went to reach for something and it's not there.
I changed my whole atmosphere by moving into this room rather than the living room. And so
yes,
by habit, I'll hear the computer or something, a chime or something, and I'll still go into the living room. And it drives me nuts. Is it okay if...
Links shared in the chat should be directly related to Think and Grow Rich, please, so that we stay within the confines of what we're talking about. Because it's morning mindset. We want to be thinking about something new that we can move forward with the day on. We want our thinking to be directed in a way,
We don't want our subconscious to be influenced by something else.
That's it exactly. That is it exactly. That is, you just nailed it, Brian. Because if and when in Blabs people start posting GIFs that are completely unrelated, you have that break of state, and it's like, really? No, you think you've ignored it, but now it becomes a part of what you're moving forward with and all that.
But I think I know the link, so go ahead and message it to me, Charlene. And if it's okay with the other Charlene, I'll post it after the recording's up.
Yeah. All right. So, anybody want to jump in and talk about how exciting it is? See, I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting not only because I've done it, but also because I know the possibilities now that I can voluntarily turn over all the work that I've been doing to this point with regard to the setting forth my desire, setting forth my chief aim, putting in there that I'm willing to be persistent, writing it out, reading it on a regular basis, all the things up to this point, that now I can feed that into my subconscious with regular intentional thought, intentional activity, so that it becomes a priority and I can tap into it. Because let's see here. The subconscious thought, the subconscious mind contains the secret process by which mental impulses are modified and changed into their spiritual equivalent. It alone is the medium through which prayer may be transmitted to the source capable of answering prayer. How's that? That's how deep it is. This is beyond. I can think all I want to think, but if I get quiet and allow the subconscious to participate, that's where I can tap into the that which is other, that which is beyond me.
So through prayer, no matter what you're quote unquote praying to, you're actually contacting the subconscious.
You are using the subconscious to connect with something outside yourself, the infinite intelligence, whatever that may be.
Interesting.
It's humbling. I think that's the ultimate the ultimate experience that I've had, is that it's humbling to realize that as much as I love to rely on my thought and my brain and my processes upstairs, right, all up here, how much is truly actually influenced and connected to what's inside. And what we mean by inside, that subconscious mind.
So that's where, let's just use the word God,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not afraid of it. That's where we're directly influenced by the heavenly.
Okay.
And that influence causes an action or a response. Interesting.
I think the important thing that I take away from all of this, just in the beginnings of talking about this, is that whether I make any effort or not to influence my subconscious mind, it's being influenced. So there's that autonomic feature, right? It's being influenced now. It's being influenced by the environment, by things happening, by what you're saying. All of that's being taken in. I don't have to dissect everything that you've shared. It's going in there. And if I'm not consciously putting things in there, surrounding myself with the right people, reading the material that is best suited to me being better and growing and my business, then what else is in there? I'm going to go back to what you were talking about with the video games. You know, what happens when you sit in front of a television and watch mindless entertainment? I call it mindless because it doesn't make you think. Entertainment just for the sake of entertainment, over and over and over again. That's the way I look at it, right? You were talking about the video games, or the old saying, gosh, I grew up with this one, garbage in, garbage out. course, I'm affected by what I read and see and experience. And if all that's coming into me is, if all that's coming in is strict, regulated religious dogma, then that's all that's going to come out, and that's how I'm going to live my life. If all that's going in is loose, no guidance, whatever moral relativity, whatever happens, I see that I'm surrounded by people that, today's just another day. It's a level of apathy plus everybody else's thoughts. That's all that's going to come out. I'm not going to have anything original. If all that's coming in is mindless entertainment, and then all that's going to come out is what paid writers came up with. It's their thoughts, it's their views, it's their perspectives. It's not mine.
That's interesting, because if you watch a sitcom, if you hear the canned laughter, your auto response, which would be the subconscious, would be to laugh with them.
Yep.
Interesting.
And then I'm the annoying one in the room that looks at you and says, "Why is that funny?" And it has nothing to do with anything except Charlene's sense of humor is very different, it seems, from so many people. Even my husband looks at me and says, "That was funny." I said, I'm going to trust you on that. I'm going to trust you on that, and let's move on. It's not that important,
I very much like that.
But there's also, I'm the one that I'll watch. This is why I don't really get into movies. I'll watch a horror movie and I'll laugh. Because it's like, this is beyond inane, because the writing hasn't been enough to bring me into, now read a book. Oh my goodness, I could scare myself silly with a book. And it doesn't happen often. I mean, I can get scared of movies. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those completely socially or emotionally detached people. I'm just saying that there's been some movies I'm remembering now that I've had popcorn thrown at me because I thought it was. I honestly thought this was a comedy when I walked in.
Have you ever gone into a funeral?
But because somebody's gone into a funeral, yeah. All right.
I didn't finish. Got into a funeral and just found it hilarious that the guy in the casket is there and you're on the outside looking at him. I mean, not
hilarious, but disconcerting or poignant. I've had that. We call them inappropriate responses, but only inappropriate in terms of the setting within which I'm sitting. I've learned to control my behavior. Actually, I always have. It's just rarely do I bust out laughing in public.
I can remember as a kid, I think I was 8. My great-grandfather died, and we were in the funeral. And I just felt overjoyed. I don't know why, but I was cracking jokes. I was laughing, and boy, did I get in trouble when I got home.
Again, inappropriate behavior within a particular setting. Yeah, it's the group that determines the appropriateness, right?
I have a scar on the back of my leg from that day.
So where'd that come from? Those are the times when you sit and you wonder, where in the world did that come from? Because honestly, I have sat and have had that response. You've seen it. I've had that response. It's like, where'd that come from? And I have to think about it. Many times I'm able to identify where it comes from, the experience I'd had, or why I was responding or reacting the way I was. And then there's some times that I just don't know. Who the heck knows why I'm scared of heights? I don't care enough to find out. Move on.
Kelly, come.
Who the heck knows why I am afraid of people? Not quite sure about that one. But let's tackle it and let's change the behavior. And little by little by little, I'm learning more and more about me and the world around me and how I respond to things. Don't always know the whys, but enough that I'm able to recognize and be aware and then make a change through that conscious thought of I'm going to change.
I can't even begin to pronounce his name. Hero.
Oh, that's his ID.
Um,
That's David.
what he
Yeah,
said.
it was a defense mechanism, sure, and I identified that. But again, the point is that I'm able to overcome that through the use of repetitive behaviors, conscious thought, and bringing in what I want to do differently. Well, then, if it's the laughing, don't put it at Charlie and Burke.
Well, I think it was referring
David,
to the.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know if it was a defense mechanism because I had nothing to. I mean, I've never been scared of death. I welcome it. I'm not going to do anything to influence it, but I know where I'm going, and I believe 100%.
I think I think it really behooves each of us as individuals to become aware of aware that there's two parts to us. We have our conscious level and our subconscious. And for each of us to decide at any given time what it is we're going to focus our attention on. I'm going to go back to, I have no interest in getting over my fear of heights. It is not stopping me from doing, honestly, it's not stopping me from doing anything I want. Having said that, if I decided and really, really wanted to climb a tall mountain, or really, really wanted, well, it's not even the mountain. If I really, really wanted, see, I can't even come up with something. I just, but seriously, let's say that the office space at the top of the Empire State Building could be mine. If I really wanted it bad enough, and I decide I really want it. If I decide I really want it, I will tackle my fear of heights. That's just it. I really want my business to succeed, so I tackled my fear of people. I've tackled my fear of public speaking. I figured out I don't know how to fix this, but other people do. So I went to the people who knew, and and I said, help me. And they said, okay, we will. So, okay. So that's what I'm talking about. And I think that is what this portion of the discussion about the subconscious mind should be, is that develop an awareness that you don't have to react or respond without thought to everything. You don't have to always be a particular way or do things a particular way. You don't have to. And it's up to you, just as it's up to me, to decide what it is I'm going to tackle. Because it takes some work. I got to tell you, it takes some work. It wasn't overnight my being I'm going to say a good speaker. I'm a great workshop facilitator. I'm a good speaker. It didn't happen overnight. So anybody want to jump in and take Brian's place? Talk about the subconscious mind. So Patty's saying fear of heights gives you a survival advantage. Yeah, I always thought so. Some of our fears are founded in a time when the world was a far more threatening place. That's instinct. I don't have any problem with that. But it can still be tackled. It can still be changed. If something is important enough to you, to walk through that fear and to change it, you will do it. That's what I know to be true. So I have to decide, how important is it to me to be able to speak in public, to be able to facilitate workshops? How important is it? Not just to the growth of my business, because honestly, when I look back, what I could have done was to get my hands on a little more capital and just hire a salesperson. But I didn't, because it was important to me that I be able to communicate with other people, because I learned and I knew over the years, I could see it, that in many cases when I'm with other people, I know things that they'll benefit from. Just as I learn from them, there are things that they can learn from me. And one thing that I wholeheartedly believe in and flat out just it's unshakable is that education and knowledge will take you wherever you need to go. It's not just imagination. Education and knowledge. You can think about it, but until you learn what it's going to take to do it, it's not going to happen. You can imagine going someplace you've never been before, but until you educate yourself about what it's going to take to get there and what you should be doing while there, if it's a different culture or what have you, it's not going to be a good experience. So, based on that, education and knowledge is of primary importance in my world. Then, and absolutely, Patty, you just nailed it. Information is noise. Unless you process it, turn it into knowledge. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can look up anything on Google, right? But which part is it that you're going to believe? And why would you believe it? Ask the questions, learn more. So anyway, education and knowledge being the foundation from which most of what I do springs. Then I had to learn how to speak in public, and I had to learn how to communicate and articulate my own thoughts so that those who were interested in learning from me could. Knowledge shared is pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Knowledge just by itself, it's all right. But when it's shared, I got to tell you, when somebody gets it, or I participate in both of us learning something new, it's very exciting times for me. So I had to tackle that. I recognized it, and it was important to me, and it was important enough to put myself through the pain of speaking in public, practicing in public, and all the things that came with it. I was willing to go through the process in order to accomplish it. And I think the same thing applies to anything. If I thought that overcoming my fear of heights is what's going to get me what I really, really want, I'll tackle it. Just hadn't happened yet. I see no reason to put my attention there. Somebody jump in, talk to me. Got a few minutes left on the recording. I'll stop the recording and then we'll have open room time. No thoughts, huh? So I'm being asked, when is my next show? Morning Mindset Cafe is every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Today I happen to have an 11 o'clock where we are doing a experience what a mastermind meeting is all about. It's going to require that volunteers be in the seat. It's going to require that we have participants on both sides because it is not about me. It is about whomever is in the live stream. And then those in the comment section can participate. But it won't be much of a program if nobody jumps in. I'll have to shut it down because that is not a mastermind meeting. Mastermind meeting is the coming together of groups of people to solve a particular problem or to brainstorm. My role will be to facilitate, to make sure it happens so that they get the answers they're looking for. So that's today. Having just gotten my laptop, I don't even have the rest of this week's morning mindset scheduled. I was able to get this part, some of them, up this morning. Fantastic, Gail. Yeah, love to have you there. Would love to have you in the seat as well in the live stream, participating, because it's a good experience. It's not it's not anything except a good experience, honest. All right, so I'm going to stop the recording and then open the room for discussion for those who didn't want to come in when the recording was happening. So this is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Thank you, everybody, for joining me in the live stream. That would be Brian. And for those in the comment section for adding your questions and comments and keeping our discussion going. Those who've been watching the replay, it's pretty terrific. Thanks for hanging with us. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses. Until next time, have a great day.